Hey there, YouTubers. Here's a video with some of the things that I've made. Follow-up video. Um, this is a cone off of an Italian cypress. Pretty interesting little cone. I've always found them unique and interesting. This was one of my first castings that I did. It was one of these cones that I took and added a piece of wax to create a funnel, and then cast it inside some plaster. Burned out the wax and the cone, and then poured the molten zinc in, and this was actually zinc. So there's that piece. Here's some of the ingots, the brass ingots from the video, one of the videos that I did. Here's several more brass ingots from some casting that I did today, working on a Valentine's Day gift for my wife. My name's Eric, her name's Dewana. I just started doing some rough sanding on it, but it was cast with a little stand. There's that. Here's one that my wife did the wax part of it. She shaped the rose petals out of wax, and then I attached a stem to it and cast it. And once I was done casting it, we patinaed it with some vinegar over about a week to get the green, and then I did a clear coat on it. This one's a casting that I did that was kind of a test. I found this steel ball bearing in the parking lot at a hardware store. Shaped the wax around it, cast it in plaster, and burned out the wax, and then poured in the brass. It was a pretty rough casting, but that's because I didn't get all the moisture and maybe even some of the wax out of the mold, so it was splattering pretty good. But I think that turned out pretty cool. It was a successful little test. Here's an open face mold that my son made. He poured some plaster in a bottom of a little container and then carved this out. This was some pewter that I found at the thrift store. The pewter mug that had been dented up, and I melted that. Really low melting point on that. This was the stainless steel cup that I poured this aluminum ingot into. The dark on the bottom here is actually sterling silver. I had melted some silver in that cup once before, and some of it stuck in the bottom, welded itself in the bottom. When I poured the aluminum, it released from the steel and stuck to the aluminum. One of these days I'll melt that aluminum off and reclaim that sterling silver. Here's some aluminum ingots that I poured in the past, just melting down some different items. The copper ingots video, this was one of the ingots cast from that. Let's see if I can scrape away some of the oxidization here and give you a view of that. I'm not sure how that'll turn out on the camera, but there you go. I've also done a couple of other things with my forge, well, it was the furnace, and my son built a forge over here. I was working on another project and decided to see how rebar would work in the for being able to be worked with a hammer, and so I made this knife. It's not finished yet. I still need to finish the blade and harden it before I put the final sharpening on it, but a pretty cool little knife. It looks kind of like a bear claw, and it's shaped like a skinner, so I call it the bear claw cat skinner, which my daughter doesn't really appreciate, but that's alright. Another project that I started working on for my dad was I took a railroad spike like this and turned it into this. Now I've still got to get the wood to do the handle. This has been hardened. I've still got some work to do on it. Once I get the handle on it, I'll do a final polish on the blade and the end of the handle. But that's some of the projects that I've worked on over the last few years. Not a whole lot other than that to show. I did do some pieces for my neighbor's flagpole that I don't have pictures for. Yeah, there we go.